Brian Howard Clough emerged as one of English football's most enigmatic and triumphant personalities, a man whose life story reads like a gripping novel filled with soaring highs, crushing lows, and an unyielding spirit that captivated fans and foes alike. Born on March 21, 1935, in the industrial heartland of Middlesbrough in the North Riding of Yorkshire, Clough was the sixth child in a bustling family of 9 siblings. His father worked initially in a sweet shop before rising to become a sugar boiler and then a manager, providing a modest but stable home amid the post-Depression era's challenges. Tragedy struck early when his eldest sister, Elizabeth, succumbed to septicemia at just 3 years old in 1927, a loss that lingered in the family's memory. Yet Clough often reminisced about his childhood as a slice of paradise, a chaotic yet idyllic world where the streets buzzed with energy and family bonds ran deep. He credited his mother, a tireless homemaker, for instilling in him the values of hard work and resilience, qualities that would define his career. "Everything good about me came from those early days," he'd say, though he'd cheekily add that his fondness for a drink might have been the one exception. School, however, was never Clough's forte. Attending Martin Grove Secondary Modern after failing the 11+ exam, a rite of passage that sorted British children into grammar or secondary modern schools, he prioritized sports over studies. Cricket was his first love, outshining even football in his affections, but his natural athleticism shone through regardless. He rose to become head boy, a testament to his emerging leadership, yet left school at 15 in 1950 without any formal qualifications. The real world beckoned, and Clough took a job at Imperial Chemical Industries, ICI, a massive chemical company that employed much of the local workforce. It was grunt work, but it built his character. Then came national service, a mandatory 2-year stint in the Royal Air Force Regiment. From 1953 to 1955, stationed away from home, he honed discipline, teamwork, and a sharp sense of command, skills that would later translate seamlessly to the football pitch and dugout. During this time, he played amateur football for Billingham Synthonia, netting 3 goals in 4 appearances, hinting at the scoring prowess to come. Clough's professional playing career ignited like a firework, bursting with goals and glory but fizzling out far too soon due to misfortune. Discovered while in the RAF, he signed for his hometown club, Middlesbrough, debuting in the 1955-56 season. As a striker, he was a revelation, clinical, instinctive, and relentless. Over 222 league games, he hammered home 204 goals, including seasons where he breached the 40-goal mark multiple times. He led the Division II scoring charts in 1958-59 and 1959-60, earning a reputation as one of the most lethal finishers in the game. Yet beneath the success simmered discontent. Clough clashed with teammates, accusing some of match-fixing and betting against the team, which strained locker room dynamics. He submitted multiple transfer requests, frustrated by a leaky defense that squandered his efforts. After an infamous 6-6 draw, he reportedly quipped in exasperation about how many goals they needed to score just to secure a win. It was during this period that he crossed paths with Peter Taylor, a goalkeeper who would become his lifelong collaborator in management. Internationally, Clough's talents earned him 2 caps for England in 1959 against Wales and Sweden, though he failed to score, a rare blank in his otherwise prolific record. In July 1961, his persistence paid off with a $55,000 move to Sunderland, where he continued his scoring spree, bagging 63 goals in 74 matches, including 34 in the 1961-62 campaign alone. Life seemed golden, but disaster struck on Boxing Day 1962 during a match against Bury. Colliding with the opposing goalkeeper, Clough suffered a devastating knee injury, tearing his medial and cruciate ligaments. At just 27, his playing days were effectively over, though he attempted a comeback 2 years later, managing only 3 more appearances before retiring at 29. His goals per game ratio of 0.916 remains the highest among English players, with over 200 league goals, cementing his status as an efficient marksman whose career was tragically curtailed. The injury not only ended his playing ambitions, but also sowed seeds of bitterness, channeling his energies toward coaching. Transitioning to management felt like a natural evolution for Clough, whose charisma and tactical acumen were evident even as a player. He started coaching Sunderland's youth team before landing his first managerial role at Hartlepool United, now Hartlepool United, in October 1965, at the tender age of 30, making him the youngest boss in the Football League. He immediately brought in Peter Taylor as his assistant, forging a partnership that would redefine English football. Hartlepool were a struggling 4th Division side, teetering on financial ruin, but Clough and Taylor turned things around. finishing 8th in 1966-67. They unearthed talents like John McGovern and Les Green, players who'd follow them to greater heights. This early success showcased Clough's motivational flair. He was strict yet paternal, creating a family-like atmosphere that inspired loyalty. In June 1967, the duo moved to Derby County, a second division club languishing in mediocrity. Clough's impact was seismic. They clinched promotion as champions in 1968-69, then stunned the football world by winning the first division title in 1971-72, Derby's first ever league crown. They even reached the European Cup semi-finals in 1973, only to fall amid controversial refereeing against Juventus. Clough's outspoken nature, however, bred conflict. He publicly criticized Chairman Sam Longson and the FA, leading to their resignation on October 15, 1973, after a boardroom power struggle. Fans protested, but the split was irreversible. A brief, ill-fated spell at Brighton and Hove Albion followed in November 1973, without Taylor initially. Clough won just 12 of 32 games, suffering humiliating defeats like an 8-2 thrashing by Bristol Rovers and a 4-0 FA Cup loss to non-league Walton and Hersham. He departed in July 1974, but controversy peaked with his next move, succeeding Don Revie at Leeds United, a powerhouse fresh off a title win. Without Taylor, Clough lasted a mere 44 days, from July to September 1974. He alienated the squad from day one, reportedly telling them to toss their medals in the bin because they'd been won by cheating under Revie. Wins were scarce, 1 in 6 games, and player revolts, led by figures like Johnny Giles, forced his sacking. This chaotic episode inspired the 2009 film The Damned United, though Clough's family decried its inaccuracies. Redemption. Arrived at Nottingham Forest in January 1975, rejoining Taylor in 1976, Clough transformed a mid-table second division outfit into legends. Promotion came in 1977, followed by the first division title in 1978, an unprecedented leap. The pinnacle, back-to-back European Cup triumphs in 1979, beating Malmö 1-0. And 1980, edging Hamburg 1-0, feats unmatched by any English club since. Forest also claimed 4 League Cups, 1978, 1979, 1989, 1990, and reached the 1991 FA Cup final, losing to Tottenham. Clough's signings like Trevor Francis, Britain's first $1 million player, and Kenny Burns were masterstrokes, often credited to Taylor's scouting eye. Their bond was symbiotic. Clough the motivator, Taylor the tactician, yet cracks appeared. Taylor's 1980 book, With Clough, by Taylor rankled Clough for not consulting him, and tensions boiled over when Taylor, after retiring in 1982, returned to Derby and signed Forest's John Robertson without notice. The pair never spoke again, a rift unresolved until Taylor's death in October 1990, while on holiday in Mallorca. Amid these professional peaks, Clough's personal demons loomed large. His battle with alcohol, which began as social indulgence in the 1970s, escalated into dependency under the weight of managerial pressures. What started as a pint to unwind morphed into a crutch, affecting his health, relationships, and later performances. Friends like Duncan Hamilton noted how his flamboyant persona masked deeper issues. In an era when mental health and addiction were taboo, support was limited. Clough's family, wife Barbara, whom he married in 1959, and children including son Nigel, who became a footballer and manager, stood by him, but the toll was evident. By the 1990s, his drinking contributed to liver failure, necessitating a transplant in January 2003. Retirement came in May 1993 after Forest's relegation from the nascent Premier League, ending 18 years at the helm. Health woes compounded in his later years. Diagnosed with stomach cancer, an aggressive disease potentially linked to his lifestyle, Clough fought valiantly but succumbed on September 20, 2004, at Derby City Hospital. Aged 69, his passing united rivals, fans from Derby and Nottingham Forest, mourned together, with thousands attending a memorial at Derby's Pride Park Stadium. Tributes poured in, reflecting a man whose wit, like his famous quip, "I wouldn't say I was the best manager in the business, but I was in the top one," endeared him to many. Clough's legacy endures as a transformative force in football. Inducted into the English Football Hall of Fame in 2002, he received the Freedom of the City from both Derby 1993 and Nottingham 2003. Nottingham Forest honoured him by naming their largest stand the Brian Clough Stand, while statues of him and Taylor stand in Derby, unveiled 2010, and Nottingham 2008. The Brian Clough Trophy is contested annually between his two iconic clubs. Ranked among the greatest managers by ESPN and France Football, his influence extends beyond trophies to the human connections he forged. He championed fair play, once ordering a player to miss a penalty after an unfair goal, and his charitable acts, like sharing cake with fans, symbolized his bond with supporters. Despite controversies, his England snub, boardroom battles and personal failings, Clough remains a beloved icon, a reminder that genius often walks hand in hand with imperfection. His story, from Middlesbrough lad to European conqueror, inspires generations, proving that with grit and guile one can defy the odds and etch an indelible mark